Welcome to this episode of Six Pack Cinema. We are talking about First Man, Ryan Gosling film about Neil Armstrong and the space race. Let's dive in. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining. You're either a recurring listener or this is your first time listening because you just watched First Man and you want to hear some people talk about it because you watched it and you have no friends, but you want to talk about it. Just joking. Maybe your friends just don't like talking about movies. But what's up? This is Six Pack Cinema. I'm Jimmy. I have Dave and John here, and we have all seen First Man, and we're all going to talk about it. How this works is we're going to do our gut reactions, then we're going to walk through the movie, then we're going to give our ratings, popcorn for entertainment and critical, and then, is that it? Then pairings, and that's about it. So let's get into some gut reactions. Who wants to go first? Do we have a volunteer?
Sure, I will.
All right.
This is John, yes. I walked out of the theater, mind you, the second time. I got the pleasure of watching this poor girl die twice because I had to leave the theater.
Oh, God.
They hit me harder the second time. But I walked out of the theater and I was like, this is good. I felt I was impressed with it and I liked it, but something was nagging at me.
I know exactly why it hit you harder the second time, but I'll get to that after I do my review.
All right. But something was nagging at me, and it's we'll get into it, but it's not as good as it could have been, and I feel like they failed on certain points, but it was wonderful to watch. I'll say that.
Dave?
I walked out of it really loving the movie, and the one thing I took away that I especially loved was I think they did a great job capturing how claustrophobic and terrifying it must have been to be in these spacecraft.
I agree. They did a great job inside the spacecraft and the claustrophobics. I have a different opinion than you guys. This completely fell flat. Well, last episode, I didn't know what First Man was. I think I saw a trailer on the football and then it registered in my brain right after. So I knew what it was going in. I was excited. Space Race is cool. Ryan Gosling's awesome. The cast is good. Completely flat, like a complete swing and a miss. I could have been so emotionally invested into this movie, and I just wasn't. I think technically they did some really great things, like Dave is saying. Soundscape was amazing.
Yeah,
but I could have walked out and not cared a bit about never seeing the end.
Because can I tell you why? And this is the thing that was nagging me when I was walking out of the theater. It wasn't personal at all. Like
no, that's why I said you got hit harder by the death the second time because you already kind of knew him. I could care less about Neil Armstrong, and this is supposed to be, we're supposed to be rooting for him, and it's supposed to be this big moment at the end. I didn't give a fuck. They didn't make us feel part of him at all. And I know that like in real life, Neil Armstrong was standoffish, so they tried to play that. Didn't work because I did not care for these characters. And there's so many times where we could have felt for them. I didn't.
I didn't think you were supposed to really like care for Neil Armstrong. I think you were supposed to more care for Claire Foy, his wife. Like she was supposed to be I cared about her because I was like, man, her husband's such a fucking dick, and like so shut off. So
you know the montage after like his friends die and he gets told that his failed mission was a success and they want him to talk in front of Congress. And then we get like this little montage of him playing with his sons and him parenting, and like he tells, go stand in the corner, and Claire Foy's character is laughing, and he's like, don't laugh, I'm trying to punish. You know, like we got a little fun montage. That came an hour and a half too late. That should have been the opening scene, and then everything would have hit me harder because I liked him.
There was a similar one in the beginning where he's playing with his daughter,
and
then she died, and then he was shut off until that moment.
Yeah, I know, but I mean.
If it didn't work for you, it didn't work for you.
It was
that wasn't with his wife. There was never real interaction with his wife until that moment that Jimmy said. They're always separated.
That's true.
I just felt like the movie wanted us to feel things that I didn't feel because I wasn't attached to the characters in the slightest.
I think that the movie banked on the space race too much, and I walked out of it. I did a little 15-second video clip and I said I would have cared a lot more if I didn't already know how it ended. And there was no like shock value. I remember Apollo 13, we all knew what happened, but the movie was sourced around the people in the cockpit that you didn't know.
Yeah.
This one they didn't give a damn about the people in the cockpit. There was just Neil Armstrong being Neil Armstrong, and The interaction was extremely slight with everyone.
Yeah,
they could have made it more personal, and they didn't.
I disagree with that just because I feel like they built up all these other astronauts throughout the film.
They died.
And those were the people you don't know who they are, and like it was I didn't I knew Apollo 1 failed, but I guess it never clicked that they all like died before ever even launching. Like that scene when they're in the cockpit and it catches on fire, I was like,
that was heavy.
Fuck.
That was a heavy scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I had seen like clips of that or like heard about it growing up, and I just completely like didn't realize it until the moment, and then that was a gut punch for me.
So you said something that I have in my notes as the opposite. We had all these really good actors, right? And let me try and find some names real quick. But we had Kyle Chandler, who was Deke, who was like the boss, right?
Yep. Yeah, Mission Control.
And then you had the guy from
Jason Clarke.
Ted Kennedy.
Jason Clarke is the one other guy we knew about. And then there's a bunch of other guys. All the other guys. There's a tall guy that he's at Congress with.
Yeah, there's a lot of like recognizable actors.
So yes, and I didn't know a thing about any of their personalities besides Jason Clarke. The only character who I knew personality in the entire film was Jason Clarke and Buzz. And Buzz was an asshole, and Jason Clarke's character was a nice guy. And those were the only two characters I was invested in any way, good or bad.
And I'll even say the guy Elliot, the first one who died.
Yeah, the first one who died.
But that was a problem. Everyone you felt for died off, and at the end of the movie, you were just left with the guy who didn't have much emotion whatsoever.
I think that was kind of the point of the movie, though, to like show the personal cost.
But I just wasn't.
They lost so many friends and like better people than Buzz.
I understand the point.
Care. I didn't care when they died, and I was like, oh, that was probably supposed to be a really powerful scene. But I don't care about this Neil Armstrong character because they haven't given me a reason to care about him. It just felt so flat for me. Everything just felt like mundane. There was nothing gripping.
Yeah, and the marriage, the strained marriage, they tried to show how strained was a marriage, but instead they showed an awkward marriage, not very loving marriage, which I don't think was the case. I think they missed the mark on that one too. It was a weird ending. I liked the movie halfway through. I was in love with it, and it just kept pittering out, and it just they could have done much more than this.
Yeah, so let's go like a little bit in chronological order. The interview for the job scene when he's a civilian and there's a bunch of army men. Like I thought that was a moment where they could have played it up more to make you really root for him. And then his interview, he was very matter of fact. Which it was like admirable. Like his answer was kind of cool, but again, was like, that's a good answer, but I don't really like you. I don't know. I just feel like they could have played with these notes a little better. Like that interview scene where like, why is it important? His answer was kind of cool. Like, it's not exploration for exploration's sake. I think we're going to find something. I'd love to know that if we did, because I don't think we did.
Well, I think his point was like, it'll change the way people view the world and stuff. Like when you get up there and you see the world, yeah, it completely changes who you are fundamentally.
I think the best part of that scene was the one right before it when talking about the ice bath.
Yes.
And he's like, well, I think he made it pretty clear that I thought it was cold.
Yeah.
Those moments were things you should bank on, like just the things that you can't find in history books. They're probably not real, but I mean, that's how you make a movie.
Yeah, and then the stabilization machine, stabilizer roller coaster. That thing was awesome. The scene where they threw up, like there was like some humor there, but then we never saw it again. Show me them mastering that and feeling good about themselves in a moment of triumph. Like
the record montage.
Yeah, like a montage of them trying, failing, and then they finally figure it out. We never saw it again. It was like there was just like I would have rooted for that. I don't know. That thing was crazy though.
It was. I think they had to fit so much information into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. I mean, because it wasn't even like it was just like the Apollo missions. It was from before Gemini all the way through.
Oh, that's real quick. They call it Gemini over and over again, and that bothered me.
Me too.
That has to be how they said it back then. Maybe.
I think like
that's a Southern accent or something.
Gemini.
A quick thing though that I just remembered because you called out when they were throwing up. I did like that it showed how like fucking rinky dink everything was. Like the bathrooms were all rusted and disgusting. And after every like successful mission, things got slightly nicer.
It's true.
The whole thing's rinky-dink. It's bizarre. All right. What about when the 3 of them died in the fire? That was tragic. But at that point, I'm team shut down NASA all the way.
I don't know. That was a big scene for me. I loved it.
Yeah.
I liked it as much as I can like a scene where something blows up. It was just really powerful.
It was definitely powerful. It was well done. Like the way they did it, where the fire consumed them, and they're screaming like, "It's really fire! It's really fire!" And then it, boom! It was powerful.
And also, they made a note to show how he took that little fucking tool up to try to open the door, and it was obviously there was no chance of opening that door in time because it was so complicated. The next time they show the cockpit, it was one boom thing. It was open. So they improved it because of that.
Yeah, but if you're alive at this point, just from a history standpoint, like I don't think you can besmirch anyone who said, "Let's shut down NASA." This is killing people, and what's the benefit?
Can you imagine that going on today?
I read a whole sorry.
No, that's what I'm saying. Can you imagine if that happened today? Like, there's no chance you can get that much money poured into this project.
I honestly believe the reason that it never got shut down until after we landed is because of JFK. Because he gave that huge speech on how we needed to do it this decade, and then he died. And it was like fulfilling the deceased president's goal.
I think also the Russians, you had to be, there wasn't just like a hobby. It was, you're competing with a different country.
Yeah, I read this whole thing. Like when JFK said we're going to go to the moon. Was it possible when he said that? Like, did NASA think it was possible? And they like didn't know. You know what I mean? But it was just this verse the Russians, all that stuff, which they kind of touched on. This was much more Neil Armstrong story than space race story or American story. What else? When he practices the landing gear and it fails and he ejects himself, that was really cool camera work.
Yes, that was great. I also like the Gemini mission he was on. That was like a failure, but they deemed it a success because he saved it during the spin. Like in my head, I knew obviously they survived because he goes on, but that was so intense. The spin from inside the cockpit.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
That was probably my favorite scene in the movie. Like, I didn't realize till afterwards. I was holding my breath like, how the fuck are they going to survive this?
Like you said, the best thing the third act, when they go to the moon, which is kind of where we're up to. And do you guys have anything else from all before that?
I'll say you said that was your favorite scene. Mine was the opening one.
Yes.
I thought that
was also very good. The sound design of the whole moon landing.
Yeah, that was good. My notes from the opening scene, let me find them. I have no investment in this because I don't know him yet, and I forgot I hate space. That was my notes.
Maybe you should just put that dog outside and not look at it anymore. I think it's really ruining your mood.
I don't like space movies.
Okay.
The space race was so we have so many technological achievements because of the space race.
I want to say that this is more of a history movie.
It is more of a history movie.
It's more a biopic than
But when they went on to the moon, that was the best part of the movie. The whole third act, like that, they didn't show mission control as soon as takeoff. You saw just them in space because you wanted to feel how disconnected they were. Where I thought was really good filmmaking, and how they filmed inside the thing was really cool, and the landing and all that. Back of my head was this worth it the whole time? Is that answered? I mean, we're like 50 years out.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yes, 100%.
We own the moon.
Also, 90% of modern technology has come from advancements made during the space race.
I know. I googled how the fuck did they film live camera when they only had tape cameras back then? Right? It's crazy. Because they wanted to film it because they knew it'd be such a big event that they advanced camera technology and shit like that. So it did have its the mission was so hard that the process of getting there advanced technology, but still the mission itself, I don't think.
I mean, but you can't say the mission itself wasn't worth it when everything that was advanced to make the mission possible makes it worth it.
Yeah, but if they were let's do this to get to Mars, and then they did all the technology to run it, never got to Mars, it'd still be the same exact. Everything that was a success about the moon landing is a success about a failed Mars mission. Technology was built. It's cool they went to the moon.
It is cool. Imagine if we didn't go to the moon. Look up there, it's like, wow, someone should probably go up there. You'd still be saying that. But now we've done it. It's already been done. And you don't have to do it anymore.
That is a good point. Had to do it. Someone had to do it.
Someone had to do it. We did it.
It's better us than those damn Soviets.
The scene that hit me the most, and this might be weird, is that when he was standing on the moon. This is really weird. This is some real guttural human thing because it just happened to me again. When he's standing on the moon and looks at Earth, made my stomach drop with uneasiness.
Really?
And I don't know why. It just did again thinking about it. I think just being like
so far from home, maybe?
Just being, that just so far from home. Like it's kind of maybe like a scary feeling that I'm having. But yeah, that hit me like hard. I was like, holy shit. I wasn't invested in the movie either. I didn't really care about him, but that shot, just that shot, it's like, oh, imagine. Being that far away from Earth, all alone in like a claustrophobic thing. Oh,
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's terrible to think about. But that was a cool shot.
I agree.
Like I keep going back to that first opening scene, and like I got the same reaction of that one because he didn't technically go into space. He was just above the atmosphere. You could call it space, sure, because he was rocketing up there. But just the fact that he was essentially just in a tin can with wings.
The fact that when it was going through the atmosphere and the whole thing was glowing underneath his feet.
Yeah, and then he comes back down to Earth and he's like, all right, cool. I'm here. By the way, I just fell out of space at a fucking 1,000 miles an hour and slammed the Mojave Desert. I'm okay. And this thing didn't fall apart and I have no like controls. Like, why do people do that? Like that's the fact that everyone didn't die is a miracle.
Yes. And I don't think I ever realized this, but he wasn't a military man. In my head, it was like military men who are just like go-getters and like adventurers. That kind of makes sense to me, but he was an engineer.
Can you fucking imagine if he actually did bounce off the atmosphere and was like, oh, well, hey, there's a guy named Neil floating around somewhere out there.
Yeah. He's just gone.
He's in a tin can shaped like a plane. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
You think about how old the technology now. This is what they went to space in. He'd have to be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. That's not safe. I'm like, no, this is what they did. How'd they know they could land on the moon?
They didn't.
They didn't until it happened.
It appears that they didn't know if it was solid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, could have been a giant sinkhole.
Yeah.
Yeah. It very well
think this is real? Are you moon landing truthers at all?
Yeah. No, I think that's real.
I think it's real. Do you not believe we landed on the moon?
I have like 2% of doubt.
I did say walking into the movie, I was like, I would love it if there's a twist ending where they get to it, or like they don't get to the moon. They like go through all this and they're like, we can't do it. And the last shot is them filming with Stanley Kubrick on a soundstage.
Yeah. It just seems so implausible to me that they could do this in 1960s.
Yeah.
So I have 2% of doubt.
Jesus.
I think they did do it because somebody, I mean, I know people, the truth is out there, is like, oh yeah, there's strings, you can tell with the shadow and shit like that. Like, I don't know, man.
Why didn't Russia go to the moon after us and just be like, okay, we're here too?
Because you see the amount of money they spent?
Yeah. I have a question.
What?
This is off topic. It's just about space.
Okay.
When Apollo 13 crashed back to Earth,
yeah,
where did they land?
The ocean.
I think Atlantic.
Were they close to America? Like, what if they just landed in fucking like Egypt?
No, they were far away. I want to say like they were like in the South Pacific.
No, maybe that.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was just like somewhere in the ocean though. But they were able to coordinate where they were going to land and send teams out ahead of time.
That's cool. All right. The best part about this movie was the soundscape. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I know I've already said it, but that whole, as soon as they separate from the main shuttle and head down towards the moon with the music, and then just dead silent as soon as they open the hatch was incredible. It was out of this world.
Shut up.
Wow.
Shut up.
Do you know that Buzz supposedly argued that he wanted to step out first, even though the commander is supposed to step out first? Yeah. They left that out.
Yeah, that was a whole big thing.
Yeah.
Do you know there's an argument from Republicans that the liberals of Hollywood didn't show them planting the flag like we've seen because they hate America in Hollywood?
I've heard that.
Yes, we spoke about it on our headliners. I think you were out.
Yeah, no, we talked about that. That's complete bullshit. It's not about the whole reason why this is because it was about Neil. It wasn't really about the flight. It was about this guy. They show the flag planted.
They did show it planted, and I've seen the footage of him setting up the flag. It's not entertaining. It's like 12 minutes of them like fucking around with it, and then Buzz and Neil have both said as soon as they lifted off, the flag fell over.
Yeah, so it's not like it was like an Iwo Jima moment of putting the flag up. It was, yeah.
How did the gravity work that they could stay on the moon?
Well, the
Do
moon
you
has
just know
gravity.
nothing about space, sir?
I hate space.
The moon has gravity.
Yeah,
the moon has gravity.
Yeah,
gravity.
Any mass in the world, anything you see around you has a source of gravity. The larger it is, the larger gravity it is. So the moon, being like what, a quarter the size of the Earth, we'll call it that, has about the quarter of the gravity.
Cool.
Yeah, science.
That reminded me of the scene where he's like sitting at home after his first day at NASA. She's like, "What are you thinking about?" He's like, "Oh, just something neat from work," and goes on this whole thing.
If you hit the thrust, you're just gonna go slower.
He's like, "But the math actually works. It's neat."
That was good. And then the whole Eggalok band.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be endearing, but nothing really endeared me to him.
I think you're supposed to think he's a bit of a dick. Like he was. No,
that was a good moment. That was for me. That's what I needed more of. About the guys, the camaraderie of the astronauts. I wanted more of that. Yeah. And they kept dying, so that didn't happen.
When he left his daughter's bracelet on the moon, did you guys cry?
Yeah. I didn't cry, but I was like, oof, that's heavy. He went all the way to the fucking moon to bury his grief.
Well, it was after his daughter died, he really just invested himself entirely in work. So this is like his achievement.
Yeah. Cool moment. I laughed when they showed Buzz just bouncing around.
that was great. Because that's what I would do if I got to the moon. I'd just be jumping around and having a good time. I was like, fuck it, I'm here. I'm gonna enjoy it.
I wouldn't have done anything, I guess. I wouldn't have stepped out. Like I was like, how the fuck do they know like what's gonna happen? Like
after Neil was standing on there and walking around, I think I would have taken one big jump. Fuck the ladder, man.
Dude, everything scares me. Everything scares me. Like the unknown. Oh my god.
I wouldn't have jumped out even after seeing him walk around because I'm terrified. Like the slightest scratch in your suit, and you die.
I really wanted him to open up the face mask and just like breathe in the moon air.
There's no air on the moon.
Doesn't work, Jimmy.
I know that. I understand, but I can't wear masks. Like Halloween, when I was little, I'd freak out if a mask was on my face because I just can't have my breath hit something and then come back to me. Like I'm super claustrophobic. So anytime I was watching them in those suits, I was like, fucking, they can't breathe. This sucks.
The fact that Junior says he should have just opened his mask and breathed the moon air.
I know that
he unbelievable.
I know that he can't do it, but that's what I'm thinking when I'm watching. Like this sucks for him. He can't breathe.
He really wouldn't be able to breathe if he opened it up.
Yeah, it would be a lot less breathing.
It'd be a lot scarier, man. Trust me.
Everything I thought about astronauts is worse. Like that's everything that they do sucks.
Oh, I would never be an astronaut.
Watch this, they would never want to be an astronaut.
Just like Dave, you pointed out that scene the first time he goes and gets in the cockpit. Holy shit! Like anxiety through the roof.
Yeah.
Yes, which was great because I never realized it was like that until this.
And I knew it was tight, but in my mind, I was thinking, okay, so these guys got to sit there for 20 minutes, and when my brain works is like, what if your balls itch? Like you can't get that, and it's going to drive you crazy until you get to the moon. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to handle that.
They couldn't scratch themselves.
Well, when they were in the flight cockpit. Yeah, that thing is really tight, and they couldn't actually do anything except for
they could literally reach forward, and that's it.
Yeah. Do you think any astronaut jerked off in space, and then their jizz just floating around there it is?
I don't think these guys did, but I read some AMAs from current astronauts who said yes, it has definitely happened.
And it just floats around.
Yeah, and they've.
I think you gotta have some kind of courtesy there and clean it up. I mean, that's just gross.
There's also a husband and wife astronaut team that have both like spent time at the same time at the ISS. So people have definitely had sex in space.
Well, that's.
I mean, if you're husband and wife in space and you don't have sex, you're fucking assholes.
I think their exact answer was like, on the record, no, we have not. Like, clearly they did.
Yes, we have. And that's like that takes the Mile High Club to a substantial level.
Dude, the first people to have sex.
Shut up.
Hey, I love that.
I like Claire Foy. All right.
I thought she was great in this.
I hated the camera work on Claire Foy.
A lot of shaky handy cams.
Well, no, not so much the shakiness, but like I never saw Claire Foy's face when she was speaking, because I saw her face, but not the full one, because it was so zoomed in on her eyes, and it was too much for me.
Yeah.
What do you guys like about the end scene? They're still like.
I hated that.
I liked it because it's realistic. Like they never were okay after this. They ended up getting divorced.
Oh, really? That sucks.
Yeah.
No,
like there was a hint of like they still loved each other, but it was still very strained.
Seeing a strained marriage is just sad, man. I don't want to go on a sad note. I just saw a guy walking the moon. That's cool. Why'd you choose to end it on that note?
Because it was more about like them and their relationship than the actual moon, like walking on the moon.
I understand that, and we keep going back and forth.
Yeah, but that's not what you wanted.
But that's just not what I wanted.
Yeah, fair. I can't begrudge that.
But no, like I said, it wasn't so much of a strained marriage. It was more of an awkward marriage. I think they missed the mark on that. It felt awkward every time they were on each other, not strained.
Yeah.
So
it would have been nice to have a montage in the beginning, too, of like when they first met and started dating, so you just see them happy.
Or just get to know them more, so you care about them more.
Yeah, like when they're in the land of Egelok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, ratings and reviews. Well, we did our review, so let's just do our ratings. Popcorn first. I apologize, guys. You didn't really persuade me to change my ratings, so I might be dragging the bunch down here.
Okay, go ahead.
Popcorn, 2 stars.
Oof.
Wasn't entertained. Could have left at any moment. I thought it was way too long.
Well, that's a little harsh.
What?
No, I think 2's a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
But
it's his ranking.
You're absolutely right. The entertainment is you and you alone. That's fine.
I mean, this is entertainment. Critical, all the soundscape, all the cinematography goes into critical. Like, just entertainment. Like, would I want to go watch this again? No. I didn't want to sit through it. It was really boring. And not boring. It was really long, and I didn't care for it. It was 2 and 20 minutes long. And
it wasn't for you.
It's 20 minutes. The mission was cool. Everything else I didn't care about. So I did a 2.
Okay.
I'll go next. I gave it a 5, but I also I grew up loving like the space race and astronauts, so this was for me, and I was very interested in the whole thing. I'd watch it again.
Okay. I didn't go that high. I went 4 just because I was entertained. I was on the edge of my seat for most of it. It gave me a little sour note at the end, and I wanted more of the personal relationships than the actual just like hardcore, cold hard facts. So, but still, I was entertained. So 4 popcorns.
3.6.
So round up to 4.
Yeah, round up to 4.
That's way too high.
No.
Yeah, that's way too high.
Actually, no, we that's 3.5, man. We got around.
I'll remind to 4 to make it a 4.
Do we do half popcorns?
Yeah, we do.
And that's 3.5.
3.5 popcorns.
All right, 3.5.
Oh, we got a shirt coming
out
of
the edge of your seat?
I was.
Oh yeah.
At the very beginning, absolutely, man.
The very beginning and the Gemini mission.
Yep, the Gemini. Jesus Christ, yes. How could you not be? You do not have a soul.
Yeah, I was never on the edge of my seat.
Man is spinning through space at 400 miles an hour.
But like you knew he was going to survive.
But he didn't know how.
Yeah, and the other guy in the cockpit could have died or gotten injured. You don't know what happens to him.
You don't know if the Millennium Falcon's going to swoop down and save them. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Man, I wish I was invested as you guys were. They didn't get me.
You know what? It's a shame. Truly a shame. And I feel for you because, I mean,
all right.
I think this dog has just ruined your life and you're just a sad person.
Just negative Nancy.
No, I was in a good mood going into the movie because it's so nice. The weather's nice. I just watched my cousin play baseball. I was like, just had a coffee. I just had a coffee before I went in, and then I was bored. don't care about this guy.
Space movie. Okay.
Critical, 75 from me.
Again, that seems so low.
I mean, we just came off a Stars one. It was really, really good in every facet. It's 75 because I think the story was terrible and the characters were terrible, and I should have cared a lot more about this than I did. It's an American history, and I'm an American history buff, and they did not make me enjoy the characters.
But it's the one part of American history that you don't like, space.
No, I love the space race. I've watched documentaries on it before. I don't care about like the actual technology of it, but the space race, if they put this more of like a USA movie or a USA versus Russia movie or the whole rooting for NASA as a team movie, but instead it was a Neil Armstrong movie who's a dud of a guy. There's no emotion. So the cinematography was amazing, which they get credit for. I mean, 75 isn't a terrible score.
It's an average score. I have the same complaints as you. I just don't weight it as heavily as you do. I had 85%.
I mean,
I want a more personal interaction between the astronauts and stuff that we don't really see. Like I said, at the end, I was like, okay, well, they're trying to get suspense built up, but I know they're landing on the fucking moon, and I know they're coming home, so there wasn't a whole lot they could do there. So the whole third act, which you like, Jimmy, it was kind of the weakest for me because there was nothing substantial to keep me there. So 85. It was really cool. It was really cool to watch.
I'm higher than both of y'all. I went 92. I thought the 8 points were purely just from like Neil being like such a like static character who you don't get much from him. But I thought the rest of the cast did great, and they carried like the emotional weight of the film for me.
All right, that's an 84.
Wow, 84. That's the same thing 3 Billboards got. It's higher than Shape of Water got.
Shape of Water.
I think this is better than both those movies.
New Jersey accent coming in.
So 3.5 pops and the 84%.
Yeah, I would
put it in the books. It's okay. I feel
that
like
must be one of our more like contentious.
This got a higher score than Ant-Man. Why'd you guys give Ant-Man such a higher score?
It's so good.
It may entertain us, man. You got it.
It's critical. It's a critical score. You guys fucking.
But critically, there was nothing like. I think we actually say in that review like we know Jimmy's gonna be mad, but this is like so good, and there's nothing to like take points off for.
You guys are 82 for Ant-Man and the Wasp for critical. I understand the 5 popcorns, but what the fuck, guys? People want to hold us to some standards.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp is the gold standard.
Ant-Man and the Wasp just got 4 points lower, 2 points lower than
because of the technological advances from Ant-Man, it just can't be contained.
Yeah. Do you not know all the technological advances you use today?
You guys gave Mission Impossible 94% critical.
We also said that was actually a very good movie critically.
It's going to be up for awards. I mean, if a movie gets a 90, it better be nominated for Best Picture.
I don't know if it'll get Best Picture, but it will be up for awards.
I'll be honest. Now that you say 94, that kind of hit me like, ooh. I remember being a great movie, but that sounds fucking.
I think we went like 92 and 95, and we
had a good week. We had a good like bang week of.
This is what happens when you're too focused on baseball, Jimmy. All our scores are really high.
Holy shit, guys! What are you doing? Jurassic World, you at least gave a 60.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah, that was bad.
You guys gave Incredibles 2 a higher percent than this movie. Critically.
That was great.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was great.
Yes.
That will win an Oscar. Yes, it will.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, that's going to win an Oscar. For Best Animated.
100%.
Solo, you guys gave 79.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to run down a whole like archive here. People should listen to it.
So we gave this one more than Tully. Tully was pretty good.
Tully was less than 84?
It was 85. Tully's higher.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
All right, so yeah, 84.
Some of your guys' scores.
All right, we don't need to.
Hey, don't separate yourself. You're a part of some of these.
Yeah, you're a part of them.
Not the 2 terrible bad ones.
You're going to get flack on the internet for saying The Incredibles doesn't deserve that.
Critically,
you're going to get flack on the internet for saying that you should have opened your helmet and breathed the moon air.
Yes. No, I want everyone to tweet at Jomboy about the moon air.
I wanted him to be able to do that because I get
not a thing, though.
I know. That's why he can't, which sucks. That's why I don't like watching it. I hate wearing masks.
Okay. All right. Well, that was fun. Jimmy's getting less and less faithful in our scores.
Pairings.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, you get
94 for Mission Impossible.
That's going to win Oscars.
All right, my pairing is I want to get like an old Budweiser can they have to open up with one of those like ratchety can openers before the pull tabs.
I wrote Budweiser too.
There we go.
Yeah, got to go.
Oh, old pull tab thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
This was before pull tabs. This is when they had the actual like crank tab, like get actually that bottle opener.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna drink. Is there like a drink that's dusty?
Dusty.
Give me some water.
Liquids aren't dusty.
Give me some just straight ice cold water because these guys can't breathe throughout the whole thing.
You want dusty water and moon air.
As soon as they take the masks off, they just gotta be like a dog.
Oh, how about you drink some Goldschlager? It's got this stuff floating in it, dusty.
There we go, Goldschlager. What was our final rating? 84.
Yeah,
I think that's probably fair. But
thank you.
I would have rather it an 81. But I think as a podcast, we need to make sure all our ratings are a little more in sync.
I think you are too harsh on things just because they're not for you, and you fail to realize, like, critically, they're still good.
That's what I said about this. It was critically good.
No, we're talking about Mission Impossible was actually really good, man.
Yes, critically, there was very little to take off from it. Same with Incredibles.
Critically,
I stand by Incredibles. Mission Impossible got knocked down to maybe a 90, 89.
I mean, if a movie's in the 90s, that means it's going to be nominated for Best Picture.
I disagree with that.
Or should be. I mean, it's critically. You guys gave Ant-Man and a Wasp a 90-something.
No, I think that was 88.
He just read it, man.
I know. I think he just said 89 or something.
Oh, really? Whatever. Oh, well, regardless. Let's wrap this one up.
I think that's it. So thank you. Go to Six Pack Cinema on Instagram and on Twitter. Let us know what you would rate it. What would your popcorn score be? What would your critical score be? Our review, if you enjoy the reviews, if this is the first episode you listen to and you've seen other movies in your life, scroll on down past our episodes and go see if there's another movie you liked that we have reviewed. We review a movie every week, so it's most likely there are some out there, and you can see what we scored it, what our thoughts were on that. We have Headliners coming out on Thursday, which is Hollywood news and other stuff. That's about it. We're out. Anything else?
Ant-Man and the Wasp was only 82.
Aha! A liar.
Yeah. I have it up right here. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Stars Born is at our highest, 97.
Yes,
we're still live.
Yeah. Only on the YouTube.